Baby, let me tell you something. The moment you stop chasing their approval, the world will start noticing your power. You've spent too many nights trying to be enough for people who were never meant to stay. You've twisted yourself into shapes that don't even belong to you, all for the sake of being seen. But hear me now. You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself love. You owe yourself you. So today I want you to do one thing. Focus on you, not them. Stop explaining yourself to those who don't listen. Because let's be honest, some people have already decided who you are before you even open your mouth. You could speak in poetry, logic, or pain, and they'd still twist your words into something that fits their version of you. That's not misunderstanding, that's unwillingness to understand. And there's a difference. You can't pour clarity into a mind that's already decided to stay closed. So stop exhausting your soul trying to convince people who came to argue, not to understand. Think about it. How many times have you stayed up replaying conversations, trying to explain why you did what you did, said what you said, felt what you felt? You write paragraphs they'll never read with the intent to fix something they already broke. You apologize for things that weren't even wrong just to keep the peace with people who enjoy chaos. You drain your spirit trying to teach empathy to those who've never learned how to listen. And for what? For approval? For validation? Or for love that you had to beg for? No, my dear. You deserve to be heard without fighting to be understood. You see, the ones who truly care for you, they won't need an explanation. They will look at your silence and understand the storm behind it. They'll see your distance and know it's not arrogance, it's self-protection. They'll feel your change and applaud your healing, not question your peace. Those are your people. But the rest, the ones who constantly ask, why are you like this now? Or you've changed. Let them wonder, because change is not betrayal, it's evolution. Imagine this, you're climbing a mountain, and someone below keeps yelling, explain why you're going up there. You stop, you shout back, you try to make them see the view that you're chasing, but they can't. They're standing on flat ground, eyes fixed on the dirt. And here's the truth. You can't describe the mountaintop to someone who refuses to leave the valley. Don't stop your climb to convince them of your path. In daily life, it looks like this. You start focusing on your goals, and suddenly someone says, you've become too busy for us. You explain, I'm just trying to build something for myself. They roll their eyes. You've changed. But the truth is, you have. You've changed from being available for everyone to being accountable to yourself. And that's a blessing, not a flaw. Or maybe you decide to cut off a toxic friendship. They start gossiping. She thinks she's better than us. You try to defend yourself. Tell your side, explain the hurt, the boundaries, the growth, but they don't want to hear that. Because some people only listen when it benefits their narrative. So why give them the luxury of your explanation when your silence already says everything? Even in relationships, it's the same. You can explain your pain 100 times, and if someone's goal is to win, not to understand, you'll always lose. You tell them you're tired of being unheard and they call you dramatic. You explain your boundaries and they call you cold. You share your fears and they call you too sensitive. But remember this, you can't heal in spaces that force you to justify your wounds. You can't find peace with someone who keeps making you prove your worth. When you start valuing yourself, you'll realize that explanations are often a form of begging, begging to be understood, begging to be accepted, begging to be loved. And that's not what you were made for. You were made to be, not to beg. When you know your truth, you stop performing for their approval. You walk differently. You speak differently. You glow differently. Because clarity doesn't shout, it just shines. Look around you. Every strong person you admire stopped explaining at some point. The woman who built her business alone, the man who walked away from noise, the artist who stayed silent while the world doubted them. They all learned that silence is not weakness, it's mastery. You don't need to scream your worth from rooftops. You just need to live it so loudly that the echoes speak for you. There's freedom in saying nothing. There's peace in walking away mid-sentence. You'll reach a stage where you don't need to explain your choices, your past, your healing, or your distance, because those who care already know, and those who don't matter. When people misunderstand you, let them. When they misjudge your silence, let them. Because your life is not a courtroom and you are not on trial. You're simply living, learning, and evolving. Let your actions be your witness, your peace be your proof, and your success be your closing statement. And yes, some will still talk. They'll say, "You think you're too good for us." No, you're just too focused for them. They'll say, "You've become distant." No, you've become disciplined. They'll say, "You've changed." Yes, because you were meant to. You were never supposed to stay the same person just to keep others comfortable. So the next time someone demands an explanation for your growth, smile or stay quiet. Let them misunderstand. Let them create stories. Let them fill blanks you never wrote. Because you are not here to be explained. You are here to be experienced. Your peace doesn't need defending. Your progress doesn't need a PowerPoint. Your heart doesn't need justification. You are allowed to choose yourself quietly, unapologetically, and without permission. Some people hear your silence and feel offended because they were never listening to understand. They were only listening to respond. But the day you realize that not everyone deserves an explanation is the day you truly begin to live. You stop rushing to prove. You stop craving to be understood. You start standing firm in who you are, even if that means standing alone. Because the truth is, you can explain yourself 1,000 times, and they'll still hear what they want to. But when you start living your truth silently, the world begins to see what words could never explain. Comparison destroys your confidence. Focus on your lane. Because the moment you start looking left and right, you lose sight of what's right in front of you. Life isn't a race. It's a journey. And the road you're walking was carved only for you. But when you start measuring your progress with someone else's ruler, you shrink your own greatness. You begin to question your worth, your timing, your talent. Not because you lack anything, but because you forgot that your pace is your power. They think about it. You wake up, open your phone, and before you even speak your first word to yourself, you see someone living a life that seems bigger, shinier, faster. You see her with her perfect skin, her dream job, her luxury car, and suddenly your peace starts to feel too small. You start whispering, "When will it be me?" You start scrolling not for inspiration, but for validation, comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. But baby, social media doesn't show the sleepless nights, the broken pieces, the fear, the hustle. It only shows the filtered fragments of success. Don't destroy your confidence chasing an illusion that was edited to impress you. In daily life, it's subtle. You're doing well until someone around you does just a little better. And suddenly your joy doesn't taste as sweet. You were proud of your car until your friend got a new one. You loved your body until you saw someone else's. You felt accomplished until someone posted their promotion. But ask yourself, who told you that their timing was your timeline? Who told you that your chapter 3 should look like someone else's chapter 10? A flower doesn't stop blooming because another flower opened beside it. It just keeps reaching for the sun. You never see a rose looking at a tulip saying, "Why are you taller than me?" Because nature understands something humans forget, that beauty has no competition, only authenticity. When you start focusing on your lane, you stop rushing, you stop competing, you start creating, you start realizing that confidence grows where comparison ends. Let me tell you something real. I once knew a young man who loved photography. He had the eye, the talent, the passion, but every time he saw someone else's work go viral, he'd say, "Maybe I'm not good enough." He'd spend more time doubting than doing. Years passed and those he envied kept growing while he stayed still. Not because he lacked ability, but because he drowned it in comparison. One day, he finally stopped scrolling and started shooting again. He focused only on what made him unique. His story, his perspective, his truth. And within a year, his art was recognized not because he became someone else, but because he became himself again. That's what focusing on your lane does. It brings you back to your power. Or look at the everyday example of a student. Two people study in the same class. One gets straight A's, the other works just as hard but gets a B. The one with the B feels like a failure, not because they didn't improve, but because they're too busy measuring their progress with someone else's success. But success isn't about being the best. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. When you understand that, you stop competing and start growing. Comparison also makes you forget gratitude. You could have a roof over your head, a meal on your plate, people who love you, and yet you feel less than because you're looking at someone with more. But what if you paused and realized that someone else is praying for what you already have? Gratitude kills envy. When you count your blessings instead of their possessions, you start seeing how abundant your own life already is. Confidence doesn't come from being better than others. It comes from being secure in yourself. Confidence says, I'm proud of my small wins, my slow progress, my quiet strength. Because there's power in peace, power in patience, power in persistence. Some people reach their peak at 25, some at 45, some at 65. The timeline doesn't define the value. Even the moon shines at night, not during the day. But does that make it any less bright? Maybe right now you're in your building phase while someone else is in their shining phase. Don't confuse delay with denial. The seed planted today won't bloom tomorrow. But if you keep watering it, one day, everyone will see what you are growing in silence. The moment you stop comparing, you start blooming. Because comparison blinds you to your own gifts, and when you're blind to your light, the world misses out on it too. Look at athletes. When a runner keeps looking over his shoulder to see who's behind him, what happens? He slows down, he loses focus, he stumbles, because distraction breaks momentum. The same goes for life. You can't win your race watching someone else's steps. Eyes forward, chin up, heart focused, run your lane with grace. Even in love, comparison kills joy. You look at someone else's relationship and think, they're happier than me, but you don't see the arguments behind the smiles, the tears behind the captions. Every love story has its storms. Every journey has its mess. Comparing your chapter 2 to someone's chapter 20 will only make you feel unworthy of something you're still building. So instead of saying, I wish I had what they have, start saying, I'm working toward what's meant for me. Because what's yours won't miss you. What's written for you will never belong to someone else. And when you understand that, you stop competing and start living. The truth is, no one's path is perfect. Everyone's story is written in different ink, on different pages, with different lessons. Your timeline is sacred. Your growth is personal. Every step, even the slow ones, matter. So don't curse your pace, trust it. The longer you stare at their lane, the more you forget how powerful your own steps are. Focus back on you, because you are not late, you are not behind, you are not less. You are exactly where you need to be, preparing for everything you asked for. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's time to stop letting it rob you. When you stop looking around, you start looking within. And inside you, there's a masterpiece waiting to be seen, not by the world first, but by you. Healing is a full-time job. Work on you. Because healing is not a weekend activity, not a cute quote on Instagram, not a spa day with candles and tea. Healing is raw, it's lonely, it's unglamorous. It's choosing peace over chaos again and again when your heart wants to scream. It's showing up for yourself even when nobody claps for you. It's doing the inner work that no one sees but everyone feels. Healing is not something you visit, it's something you live. It's not a destination, it's a discipline. You see, everyone wants to be healed, but no one wants to do the work that healing requires. Because healing means facing the truth about yourself. The parts you've been running from, the emotions you've buried, the patterns you keep repeating. It means sitting in silence when your mind wants distraction, forgiving when your pride wants revenge, and releasing when your ego wants control. Healing demands courage. It's not about pretending you're fine. It's about admitting that you're not and still choosing to rise. Think about it. You can't build a house on a cracked foundation and expect it to stand tall. That's what most people try to do. Decorate their pain instead of repairing it. They buy new clothes, chase new people, post new smiles, but inside they're still bleeding. You can't cover up emotional wounds with material bandages. You can't post your way out of pain. Healing happens when you stop hiding from your truth and start holding yourself accountable for your peace. Take the example of heartbreak. When someone leaves, most people rush to replace them instead of repairing themselves. They say, I need to move on. but what they really need is to move inward. Eat, because if you don't heal what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. You'll keep repeating the same cycle, just with different faces. Healing teaches you to sit with your loneliness until it stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like peace. When you finally realize that being alone is not empty, it's space to rebuild, that's when you start working on you. Healing also shows up in forgiveness. Not the soft, polite kind, but the kind that rips open your pride and makes you release the weight you've been dragging. Forgiveness is not saying what you did was okay. It's saying what you did will no longer control me, because holding on to resentment doesn't hurt them. It hurts you. Every time you replay the pain, you relive it. You carry their mistake in your mind like it's your identity. Healing is setting yourself free from the story that broke you. It's closing the chapter without needing closure from someone who was never capable of giving it. Healing is also about boundaries, the invisible fences that protect your peace. You can't heal in the same environment that wounded you. You can't become whole in spaces that profit from your brokenness. Sometimes healing means walking away without explaining, blocking without guilt, saying no without apology. It's choosing yourself over comfort, peace over people-pleasing. Every boundary you set is a brick in the house of your healing. In daily life, it looks like this. You stop responding to drama. You stop chasing validation. You stop tolerating half-love. You start spending time alone and realizing you're not lonely. You're just detoxing from chaos. You start saying, this version of me deserves peace, not pressure. You stop overthinking what they think and start caring about how you feel. That's when the real healing begins. Because healing doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, I'm done explaining myself. Healing also means learning yourself all over again. You change when you heal. Your taste changes. Your energy changes. The things that once excited you may no longer fit. The people you once chased might not feel right anymore. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. You're not losing yourself, you're returning to yourself. You're remembering who you were before the world taught you to doubt your own light. Think about a wound on your skin. If you keep touching it, it never closes. But if you clean it, cover it, and give it time, it heals naturally. Your emotional wounds work the same way. You can't keep reopening them with thoughts, conversations, and memories that serve no purpose but to keep you stuck. Sometimes you just have to let time and peace do what your heart can't do overnight. Because healing is not instant, it's intentional. Even in work and success, healing matters. Some people grind endlessly, not because they love the hustle, but because they're trying to outrun their unhealed self. They measure their worth by achievements, chasing applause to fill a void that can't be filled externally. But healing means learning that success without inner peace is still failure. You can reach the top of the world and still feel empty if you never address the pain inside. Healing teaches you to slow down, to breathe, to feel without judgment. It teaches you to love without losing yourself, to rest without guilt, to grow without comparing. Healing whispers to you, you don't have to be who you were to deserve love. Because healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the hurt hardened you. A woman who is healing starts glowing differently. She laughs differently. She doesn't chase anymore. She attracts. She doesn't react to everything. She protects her peace. She becomes soft but not weak. Gentle but not gullible. Her silence becomes strength. Her peace becomes power. She doesn't announce her healing. You just feel it when she walks into a room. And yes, healing hurts. There will be days you'll question if it's worth it. There will be nights when the pain feels louder than progress. But every tear that falls is cleansing you. Every moment of solitude is shaping you. Every no you say to the wrong things is leading you closer to the right ones. Healing doesn't make you perfect, it makes you whole. And wholeness is far more powerful than perfection will ever be. Healing is a full-time job. Not something you visit when you have time, but something you commit to like your life depends on it, because it does. It's not about erasing the past, but learning from it. It's not about pretending to be unbreakable, but choosing to rebuild even after being broken. Healing is the art of turning your wounds into wisdom, your scars into strength, and your pain into purpose. It's the work that no one can do for you, but everyone can feel once you've done it. Let go of the need to be understood. Because not everyone will understand your silence, your choices, your peace, or your pain. And that's okay. You weren't put on this earth to be understood by everyone. You were put here to live your truth. The need to be understood is what keeps so many people chained to the opinions of others. You keep explaining your intentions, your growth, your change, as if your soul's evolution needs public approval. But some people don't want to understand you. They want to fit you into the version of you that serves them. The moment you stop trying to make sense to everyone, you start making peace with yourself. There are people who only see you through the lens of who you used to be. You could be standing in the light, but they'll still talk about the shadows you walk through. You could be healing, and they'll call it distance. You could be protecting your peace, and they'll call it attitude. You could be changing your life, and they'll say you've changed, but you have to let them. You can't shrink your spirit to fit into the small boxes people build with their limited understanding. Think about it. Every time you try to make someone get you, you're giving them power over your peace. You can explain your side 1,000 times, and they'll still hear only what they want to hear. Because understanding isn't just about listening. It's about the willingness to see you with empathy, not ego. And not everyone has that capacity. Some people don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. They listen to argue, to twist, to judge. That's why the most powerful thing you can say sometimes is nothing at all. Look at daily life. You start setting boundaries, and suddenly people say, you've become selfish. You try to prioritize your peace, and they call you cold. You stop engaging in gossip, and they say, you think you're better than us. You try to level up, and they say, you're acting different. You try to explain that it's not arrogance, it's growth. It's not pride, it's protection. But they won't get it, because your healing triggers their stagnation. Your peace reminds them of their chaos. Your silence threatens their need for control. So they label what they can't understand. Let them, because their misunderstanding is not your responsibility to fix. You can waste your whole life explaining your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You can drain your energy trying to prove your intentions to hearts that have already decided to misjudge you. But peace starts the moment you say, I no longer need you to understand me to feel good about myself. That's freedom. The kind of freedom no applause or validation can give you. Think of an artist. When they first paint something abstract, people might stare and say, I don't get it. But does the artist stop painting? No. Because art isn't made to be explained. It's made to be felt. You are the same. You're art. Some people won't get your colors, your strokes, your meaning, and they're not meant to. Your purpose isn't to explain your art. It's to live it unapologetically. Even in relationships, you'll see it. You pour your heart out, try to explain how you feel, but they still say, you're overreacting. You tell them how something hurt you, and they respond, you're too sensitive. You express your boundaries, and they say, you're being dramatic. But healing teaches you that your emotions don't need their permission to exist. You have the right to feel deeply without having to defend it. You have the right to move on without explaining why you're tired of being misunderstood. Because peace is louder than explanation. When you start growing, your energy changes, and not everyone is going to align with that. There will be friends who think you've become distant, family who thinks you're ungrateful, colleagues who think you've become arrogant. But maybe it's not that you've changed. Maybe you've just evolved. The conversations that used to excite you no longer interest you. The chaos that used to drain you no longer attracts you. You start choosing stillness over noise. And the truth is, people who haven't learned peace will always misinterpret it as pride. There's a deep power in being misunderstood and still staying soft. Because most people, when they're judged, fight to prove themselves. But you learn to walk away in silence. You learn that explanation is a form of energy exchange, and not everyone deserves that exchange. Every time you defend yourself to someone who's already decided who you are, you're wasting energy that could have been used to build your peace. You don't need to convince anyone of your intentions. You don't need to argue for your character. Your actions are louder than your explanations. Imagine a tree. It doesn't explain why it grows in silence. It doesn't justify its roots or defend its growth. It just stands tall season after season, shedding what no longer serves it. And still, people find a reason to complain. Too much shade, too many leaves, too tall, too slow. But does the tree care? No, because its purpose is to grow, not to be understood. That's you. You're here to rise, not to justify. Even when you chase dreams, people won't understand the grind. They'll say, you're obsessed, you're unrealistic, you're too ambitious. But one day, those same people will call you lucky. They won't see the nights you stayed up crying, the sacrifices you made, the battles you fought alone. And when that day comes, you won't need to say, I told you so. Because success explains what words never could. In friendships too. When you stop being the one who always reaches out, some will say, you changed, but you didn't change. You just stopped pouring into people who let you drown. You stopped explaining your distance and started protecting your peace. Healing makes you quiet. Growth makes you selective. Maturity makes you uninterested in explaining your every move. You must understand that your soul's evolution will confuse small minds. Your peace will irritate the chaotic. Your boundaries will upset the controlling, and your silence will disturb the loud. But you don't owe anyone an explanation for your becoming, because real growth doesn't need a press conference. It doesn't need to be announced, it needs to be lived. People will misunderstand you when you choose purpose over popularity. They will talk when you refuse to participate in their noise. They will twist your truth because it doesn't fit their comfort. But that's okay. Because being misunderstood by the world is better than being disconnected from yourself. Some people will only understand your silence years later, and by then your peace will already be too loud for them to ignore. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it truly is. Your energy is the essence of who you are, your light, your peace, your fire. And the truth is, not everyone deserves access to it. Some people will drain it, twist it, or feed off it until you have nothing left to give. Not even to yourself. So you must guard it like you'd guard your most precious possession, because it is. You see, we often let too many people into our emotional space. We listen to every opinion, absorb every criticism, and give our time to people who don't value it. That's like leaving the door of your home wide open and being shocked when someone walks in and makes a mess. Protect your peace. Protect your energy. Not everyone who smiles at you has pure intentions. Not everyone who claps for you wants to see you win. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from a conversation feeling exhausted, heavy, like someone just took a part of your soul? That's not by accident. Some people thrive on your confusion, your doubt, your chaos. They love to drain you because it makes them feel powerful. They feed off your openness, your empathy, your light. But listen, you are not a charging station for broken souls who refuse to heal. You can love them, you can pray for them, but you cannot let them drain you. There's a difference between helping someone and letting them deplete you. Helping uplifts both souls. Draining leaves one empty and the other dependent. And it's not just people. Environments can drain you too. The workplace where gossip breeds like wildfire. The friend group that measures your worth by your achievements. The relationship that makes you question your value. All of them take pieces of your peace if you let them. Protecting your energy sometimes means walking away from noise that disguises itself as normal. It means saying no without guilt. It means choosing silence over unnecessary arguments, peace over validation, solitude over fake companionship. Don't be afraid to stand alone if that's what it takes to stay aligned with yourself. A garden only grows when it's protected from pests. Your energy needs the same boundary. There's power in being selective about where you place your attention. Not every fight deserves your response. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. Some people want you to explain, defend, and argue until your peace collapses. Don't fall for that. The most powerful move you can make sometimes is no move at all. Just silence, just peace. Protect your energy from those who find comfort in chaos. They will try to provoke you, guilt trip you, or confuse you into giving them what they can't create within themselves. Calm. Don't hand it over. Keep your spirit steady like a flame in a storm. Let them shout while you glow. In daily life it looks simple, but it's not easy. Maybe you're that friend who's always there for everyone, the one they call when they're sad, broke, confused, or angry. And you listen, you support, you give your heart. But when you need someone, they're too busy, too tired, not sure what to say. You end up emotionally empty because you keep pouring into cups that never pour back. Stop doing that. Protect your energy by setting limits. You are not being selfish, you are being wise. Self-care is not self-centered, it's survival. You cannot save others if you drown in the process. Sometimes protecting your energy means not responding to the text, not picking up the call, not going to that event, not explaining why you didn't. You owe no one an explanation for prioritizing your peace. People who truly value you won't be offended by your boundaries, they'll respect them. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates, and you decide who enters. Your time, your space, your spirit, they are sacred ground. Don't let just anyone walk through them with muddy feet. And remember, the digital world drains energy too. Constant scrolling, comparing, reacting, it eats your peace silently. Protect your energy from online noise. Not everything deserves your attention. Turn off notifications. Unfollow chaos. Don't let the world's opinions shape your spirit. You are not a reflection of likes or comments. You are a reflection of peace, purpose, and power. Protect that. Look around you. The most peaceful people are not the loudest. They're not in everyone's business. They're not constantly proving their worth. They've learned to conserve their energy for what matters. Growth, healing, love, creation. They walk away quietly, not out of weakness, but wisdom. They understand their energy as divine currency, and they spend it only where it brings peace, not pain. Protecting your energy is not about isolation. It's about alignment. It's about being intentional with where you invest your emotions. It's about realizing that your mental and spiritual space is the foundation of your life. If that space is filled with negativity, nothing good can grow. But when you protect it, nurture it, and keep it pure, your peace multiplies, your clarity sharpens, and your life transforms. The most magnetic people are those whose energy is untouched by drama, by noise, by negativity. They glow differently, their silence speaks volumes, and their peace, their peace is untouchable. So as you walk out into this world, remember this. Your energy is not cheap, your peace is not for sale, and your soul is not a playground for those who come to play and leave when they're done. You were never meant to be everything for everyone. You were meant to be you, whole, grounded, powerful, and at peace. Stop scattering your spirit in places that don't feed your growth. Because every time you protect your energy, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you say no to chaos, you say yes to your calm. And every time you choose peace over people-pleasing, you rise a little higher in your purpose. You see, peace isn't found, it's e-protected. .e, and not everyone will understand the walls you build to guard it. But that's okay. Let them call you cold, distant, or selfish. They don't see that behind your quiet is wisdom. Behind your silence is strength. Behind your distance is discipline. Because when you protect your energy, you stop living for applause and start living for alignment. You stop chasing validation and start chasing purpose. You are not here to explain your peace to people who thrive on chaos. You are not here to shrink so others can shine. You are not here to be drained so others can feel full. You are here to be the keeper of your own light. And remember this, not everyone deserves access to your calm. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. Some energies are warnings, not invitations. The moment you start treating your peace like treasure, you stop handing it out like candy. Life will test you. It will send storms, heartbreaks, disappointments, and noise. But never forget, storms don't destroy strong souls, they reveal them. And the one who guards their peace through the chaos becomes unshakable. You'll notice it one day, when you no longer react to every insult, when silence becomes your answer, when your calm becomes your comeback. That's not weakness, that's mastery. That's the glow of someone who has learned that peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of power. Let your peace offend those who feed on drama. Let your growth confuse those who expected you to stay broken. Let your silence echo louder than their noise. You don't need to explain why you've changed, why you've distanced, why you've stopped entertaining nonsense. Growth doesn't require permission, it demands protection. Remember, even a candle knows when to burn and when to rest. Protect your flame. The world needs your light, but not at the cost of your fire. Don't let temporary people burn out your eternal purpose. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it drains your soul, it's not love. If it confuses your spirit, it's not alignment. And hear this truth. The most powerful person in any room is the one who doesn't need to prove anything. When your peace becomes your priority, you glow differently. You walk differently. You attract differently. People will wonder what changed, and the answer will be simple. You started protecting your energy. So from this moment on, let nothing disturb your calm. Be so rooted in your peace that chaos bows before your composure. Be so full of light that darkness cannot touch you. Be so centered that no storm can move you. Because when you protect your energy, you're not just saving yourself, you're saving your purpose, your power, and your future. And if ever you forget how sacred your energy is, remember this: a lion does not turn when dogs bark. The ocean does not lose its depth because of a few waves. And the sun does not stop shining because someone is uncomfortable with its light. So shine anyway. Guard your peace fiercely. Protect your spirit like gold. Because your energy is your empire, and only you can decide who gets to enter it.